The vast majority of people in this country understand that what makes America America is that the American people bow to no king.
Folks, I want to dive right in here because the next 5 minutes you're about to see are going to speak for themselves. I've gone ahead and compiled some of the highlights from Pete Buttigieg's VoteVets town hall in Cedar Rapids, Iowa today, culminating in this brilliant clip where a veteran calls out Donald Trump and Pete Buttigieg looks him directly in his eye to deliver a perfect response. If you enjoy this kind of wholesome content, then please consider dropping a like and subscribing to support the Really American Resistance. And please enjoy the next few minutes of the type of leadership America deserves.
Habeas corpus, this is some really basic foundational stuff about the rule of law, right? And that's what tells you this is not a normal Democrat-Republican fight. Matter of fact, when a senior White House official is seeking to end habeas corpus, I have a question from some people I know. Where the hell are the libertarians right now? And yeah, freedom means freedom from overbearing government, something we should be able to join hands, progressives, conservatives, libertarians, at a moment when the President of the United States thinks he can send you to another country or shut down the broadcast license of a TV station if he doesn't like what it has to say. That is not freedom. I guess the way I would think about it is that our most important rights and freedoms are safe if and only if they apply across the board. So just like freedom of speech isn't freedom of speech if it's only for speech we agree with, right? It's why, because Voltaire said, I detest what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it, right? It is precisely with disagreeable speech that we prove that we really mean it when we say freedom of speech. Same thing with the rule of law. You know, they're saying like, oh, well, this guy, you know, he's a criminal. The whole point is that no one person, least of all, no one politician, gets to decide that you're a criminal. Who decides? We have a process. We have laws. That's what due process is. You're not a criminal because the head of the government of the country you live in says you're a criminal. Then, if that is the way it works, we are not a nation of laws. The whole Constitution points to a way of making sure that we give people that due process, that we count on that due process. And it can involve, for those who are involved in law enforcement and the judicial system here, it involves probable cause and a jury of your peers. I didn't go to law school. I'm not a lawyer. You shouldn't have to be to know that due process is afforded to everybody, because it is through that due process that our society can make decisions, including challenging decisions about what happens to you if you are in fact held to be in violation of the law. As, ironically, happened to the president himself when he went through probable cause, due process, judge, jury, all of that. He got due process. So should everybody else.
My name's Ned Fry. I live in Mediapolis, Iowa. I'm a retired command sergeant major with 33 years of service. "18 veterans a day commit suicide, and if we fire 83,000 people in the VA, I have been sending Lieutenant Colonel Joni Ernst messages and messages. I want to know how many of those people are doctors and nurses and suicide hotline people. And I got one other thing to say. At least I know what the Declaration of Independence is, and it's not a love letter.
I couldn't have said that better myself. Well, thank you for that service, and thank you for taking a stand for those who come home. And we, definitely people I served with came home physically intact, but they still didn't make it. And it is a profound crisis. And the good news is our country is gradually doing a much better job, generally and with respect to veterans, of recognizing, culturally, the importance of mental health, understanding that mental health ought to be something we deal with, and be able to talk about that. That someday you could talk about having a experience with depression or bipolar disorder the same way that you can talk about you're getting ready to have a knee replaced. We, as a country, are not there yet, but we've come a long way. And yet at the very moment when the VA is staffing up and gearing up to better reflect that, they're cutting people. I met with someone at the VA earlier today who was explaining how part of what they've done is when there was a vacancy, like a physician moves on, they're getting ready to hire another one, they eliminate it. And that way they can say it's fully staffed, but they've just reduced the number of people who can serve our veterans. They made cuts that impacted the Veterans Crisis Line. Why in the world would the Trump administration cut a literal lifeline for America's veterans? Thank you.
And that is the kind of compassion and leadership that this country not only deserves, but needs. Thanks for watching, folks. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse. I'll see you guys in the next one.